The world has changed immeasurably in the last year or two, and it's only going to continue to change in ways that we can't imagine. And what comes with that is basically whatever we thought we knew, the unwritten rules, the formula, the steps we need to take to achieve success, all of it has changed. We've got to throw it all out the window and start afresh with a blank, clean slate. For a lot of people, that's very scary. It's uncertain, and fair enough, I'm feeling the same. But instead of charging forward and trying to have all the answers, have it all figured out, what if we just took a moment to step back, to pause, to process? Because after all, that charging ahead is very much what people understand leadership is all about. But what about the other side of the coin? The yin to the yang, the forward movement, the taking action, and the slowing, pausing, and reflecting, both of which are equally important in leadership. When was the last time you did that? When was the last time you took a moment to pause and reflect, process and integrate? It's one of the most common challenges or things that come up with my clients, a deep dive reflection session on something that's previously happened, how they responded or reacted, what they have learned and what they can do better moving forward. And it's often in these silent moments that they get vulnerable. They build up the courage to look in the mirror and look at their own behavior, is where the most growth and transformation happens. Now, look, it's not easy. It's quite confronting at times, but without challenge, there is no growth. And we do need to find space for that stillness amongst all the action, especially with what's going on in the world today. And it's not just about the speed. We're all used to the speed. We live such fast-paced lives. We've always got something going. We're being pulled in all sorts of directions. But in this particular time, it's about the magnitude of change, the type of change. It's all unfamiliar, new territory, and that just adds a whole new dimension to it. And I think that's really what people are struggling with the most right now. And I feel that for leaders, it brings up a whole lot of emotions: fear, uncertainty, frustration, resignation, feeling defeated. There's a whole lot of negative emotions associated with it. And then what can end up happening is analysis paralysis, avoidance, dissociation, and perhaps acting in ways that aren't an accurate reflection of who they really are. We are humans at the end of the day. What we're currently undergoing and we're about to keep going on with is something that is huge. What that comes down to is the pressure to keep up, to remain relevant and competitive, action, taking charge, having it all together. That's what we're wired to do as leaders. But again, we need to come back to that stillness and try to understand, what does this bring up for me? What's the underlying meaning? And once I understand that, I can better decide what to do moving forward. Something that I think often comes up in these type of scenarios is the urge to control the situation or control the outcome, because that's going to give you a sense of stability and that's where you feel safe. But this control is likely just another form of avoidance or dissociation and not really addressing the real problem at hand. You're not going to be able to come up with a good response or make that sound decision when you're ignoring all these other aspects. There are a few critical things that as a leader needs to be considered in this type of climate and environment. First of all, to acknowledge the change accurately, to really see it for what it is, to get the complete picture of what's going on externally and around you. I think a useful question to ask yourself is, how can you acknowledge the speed, the scale, and the magnitude of this change without resisting it? And once you've acknowledged and accepted rather than resisted, the next step is to really go inward and to ask yourself, how does all of this make me feel? How is all of this affecting me? Your emotions, your thoughts, your beliefs, your judgments, even your physiology. It's all too easy to just gloss over those things or to ignore or put yourself and your needs and feelings to the side because you've got a mission, you've got something to do, you're trying to make it to the next appointment, get the next task done, find a new job, provide for your family. It's all about survival, but then you end up in a reactive mode rather than having the ability to respond or plan or be proactive in your strategy. A useful starting point would be, what am I actually feeling right now? Which is, more than just happy, sad, angry. There are a whole list of emotions that exist out there, and the more specific you can get, the better. Give yourself some time to do this, and it might not be easy, or it might take a little bit longer if it's something that you're not used to, but it is an important step. Once you name those and you understand the stories that are driving them, for example, I will be insignificant, or I won't reach my potential, you then have to understand that's all white noise. That's all on the surface. So those thoughts are driving those emotions. And then you need to go a level deeper. What's the underlying meaning underneath that emotion? The true underlying meaning. That usually comes down to some core fear. In this case, uncertainty could be a big one. When you feel backed into a corner, you'll do whatever you need to do to survive. But it's important to understand these emotions, address them head on, not avoid, not disassociate, but actually confront them head on so that you can not only understand the external world, but also your internal world and how that's affecting you. Once you have those first two pieces of the puzzle, that's 80% of the way there, because you're going to have a pretty good grasp on what's going on in your world right now. Another step is to come back to yourself, to your core identity, your judgments, your beliefs, your values, your strengths, your passions, your weaknesses, because they are a constant, probably your most reliable constant that you can always fall back on no matter what's going on around you. And use these as your guide. You might have lost your job and you're like, I don't know what to do next. Or who am I in this new world? Or how do I find my place or my footing again? But coming back to your core identity, you will always have the answer. A useful question to ask at this point is, what helps you stay regulated so that you can respond rather than react? The last 2 points are more of a mindset shift, a reframe that you can apply to help you move forward. The first one is to be okay with not having all the answers, really being able to get comfortable with that uncertainty. I know that involves a lot of courage, vulnerability, because as strong, accomplished, experienced leaders, we like to have all the answers. But I think the leaders that are going to thrive in this new world are the ones that will be able to make those decisions despite not having all of that information. The strongest leaders and the ones that will survive and thrive are ones that can acknowledge their external world, have a good grip on the situation, understand how it affects them on the inside, come back to their core identity, and using those 3 ingredients, be able to make a decision moving forward without having all the answers. And finally, choosing presence over panic. There's a lot of anxiety and fear going around, worrying and thinking about the past, worrying and thinking about the future, rather than just being present and grounded right here, right now, in this very moment. A useful question to ask at this point is, where might you be looking for certainty before it's available? What is stable, grounding, and real for you right now, and how can you return to it? Chances are you've got a lot of things going for you. You've got a lot of skills. You've got the experience that you'll be able to find a way to move forward and just find comfort in that presence. But at the end of the day, whatever's happening in the world around us right now isn't going away. Every day there are new changes, unexpected things that are going to shake up our world. And it really comes down to your ability to navigate that change, not by just pressing forward, taking action and doing what you've always known, but by stopping, taking a moment to pause, to reflect, to process and integrate so that you can make the best decision moving forward. By acknowledging and accepting the change in your external world, acknowledging how it makes you feel in your internal world, coming back to your core identity and who you really are, being okay with the uncertainty and not having all the answers, and being present are really all acts of finding stability and grounding in an uncertain world. I hope this video helps you to navigate all the change, fear, anxiety, and uncertainty that's going on in the world around us right now. Just hang in there. You've got this. And if ever you need any help with this reflection, processing, integrating so that you can make the best decision forward, don't hesitate to reach out. Sometimes all you need is that sounding board, your mirror, someone who's going to bounce those ideas back to you to help you get that clarity, to help you feel more hopeful and optimistic with your direction moving forward. My name is Nicole Schmitz, a leadership coach with an academic background in psychology and law, and I help senior corporate executives and entrepreneurs to find their leadership X factor, which is to think, speak, and connect like highly influential thought leaders to drive business relationships, strategy, and growth.